Is there a different exit to leave the park?
No.
I think it's where the tube stations are. Do you know where that is?
There is a sign.
Because
the direction.
I came here on the tube, so I actually came here on the tube, and but I can't remember which exit or which entrance it was from. But I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't get the tube back home. Maybe I should get a bike. But if I take a bike, then I need to get a Boris bike, so I don't have a bike with me, because that'd be really good exercise. Because then I can get a workout, and then I don't have to worry about getting a workout in later, because I already did a workout by cycling. So that can be really cool. So what I'm thinking about, or I could just walk. But the thing is, walking all the way home would be too much. So if I get a bike, but the thing is, I need to get the rental bikes. But I'm not sure if you have to download an app to get to the rental bikes, or if you can just apply for it. Because the thing is, I don't have data on my phone. So maybe if I just turn up to the station where they have all the rental bikes, I don't want to have to go up there and then I can't get it, and then I wasted the time, and then I have to find the tube station again. And then if I don't have data on my phone, then back to the train station, because I won't be able to find it on Google Maps, because I don't have any data. Some Wi-Fi, but everything's right now as well, so there's no guarantee of finding Wi-Fi as well. Because the thing is, I need to go to McDonald's or Pret a Manger or something like that in order to get Wi-Fi. But in order to get Wi-Fi, I would need to find out where Pret a Manger is or where McDonald's is.
Yeah.
And so that it would be a bit counterproductive to actually be able to find a place where I can actually find Wi-Fi or find data on my phone. So I'm not really too sure what I should do. I mean, I could just walk there, but it's too. I don't even know which way is north, east, south, west from here. So even if I decided to go to walk there, I'm not sure if that would even work. But I mean, if I could walk around, but I don't want to walk around in circles and then hope that I find a place where there's a tube station. A few other people as well, but they didn't really know where the tube stations were. So I think most people, they come here, or they live quite nearby, so they can come here within walking distance. So if I actually, to be honest, I don't think I'm even going to take a tube. Actually, I think I'm just going to if I jog, I'm just going to jog there, because that's even better exercise. Because that way I avoid the cycling problem, but I also avoid the walking problem, because walking's too slow. And by the time if I was going to walk all the way home, that would take me 5 hours. So if I jog, maybe I'll get there in 3 hours, and that's maybe not so bad. The only issue with that, I think, is the fact that I don't know my orientation, so I could just be jogging in one direction, but it could end up being the wrong direction entirely. So what I'm probably going to do is I could just jog around for circle the park, find out the main key exits, and see where the general orientation of the park relative to northeast, southwest. And then that way, because I know that I need to head in the northern direction, and then that way I could figure it out. But even then, that could be somewhat disorientating, because even though it's uphill, even though up here it's a little bit uphill, so technically you'd be thinking that this would be north, but I'm not entirely sure. Just because it's uphill doesn't necessarily mean it's north. Because when you go to the south of London, there's loads of hills there. Because I remember one time when I was in the south of London, I was on a bike, just going through bike all the way through Kent as well. And actually it was very, very hilly, and I was going mostly uphill to the south of London in a southerly direction. But actually you'd think, because of the amount of uphillness and the steepness of the place, you'd think it was actually north, but it's actually south. So that it can be very confusing sometimes. But actually, when I did that trip, we were cycling, but actually what I ended up doing in the end was finding the nearest train station, so we could go there more quickly, and that was actually a more effective method of transportation. Because ultimately the problem is with cycling is that it's very, very tiring, and eventually you run out of energy. So that can be one of the key issues that can really kind of do next time, if I do plan to do something like that, is take some drinks with me. So I might have some Red Bull in my backpack to help me to have the energy to go all the way. The only problem with that comes with more problems, because you're having to carry lots of Red Bulls in your backpack, and that adds extra weight, and then more energy you have to expend to actually get all the way there. So that's one issue. But another issue is also the fact that you're consuming a lot of liquids as well. And then that means that you have to just stop and have to take a piss a lot. And that can really be cumbersome as well. That can really be mentally draining as well as physically draining as well. So what I'm probably going to do next time, if I do plan to do that, is get another person to carry half of the burden of the drinks as well. So when you're cycling, having to carry loads of drinks just on yourself, you can also share it with other people as well. You can also consume some of the liquid as well, so the burden is shared that way. Because what we ended up doing, actually, we made it all the way to the north of France. So we actually crossed the channel. We didn't on a ferry. So obviously cycling through the water is not very effective, but we went to we got to onto the ferry, and we managed to go to Dunkirk. And so we did a cycling trip all the way from Dunkirk all the way to Belgium, and all the way through Germany. Our plan was to go to Russia, but we didn't quite make it because it was really far. But we had to take the train. Yeah, it would take a long time. It wouldn't take years, but it would take at least maybe a couple of weeks if you're going to cycle all the way there. But we didn't cycle constantly. We did actually have a few stops along the way as well.
Okay.
So we actually stopped in a few cities along the way. But we actually for example, when we reached a certain part of Belgium, I think the town of Belgium, which is closest to France, we actually took a train all the way through Belgium to cut the journey a bit shorter. And so we made it to Germany. And when we reached Germany, we were in I think it was Cologne or Dusseldorf or something like that. And then that way we could cycle along a bit more. And then that way it was a lot shorter. And it was still quite good because we still balanced it with getting sleep on the train, so we could sleep on the train. So we had somewhere to sleep, so we didn't have to get a hotel.
Where would you take showers?
So that way it doesn't matter too much because we were sweating a lot on the bikes anyway. So it doesn't matter too much about the sweat, because the sweat is kind of it moisturizes you anyway. So that way it's when you're really sweaty, that counts as a shower anyway because you're really sweaty. So we did that, and then eventually we made it all the way. We didn't actually make it to Russia. We went it to the other side of Germany, but we were still cycling. I mean, if you cycle half a country, that's still quite a lot of cycling to do. So we did a lot of exercise. So it was actually a really effective thing to do in the end. So we ended up doing that, and it was really a good experience because we didn't just cycle the whole way through. We actually did other things as well. So we did a bit of sightseeing. We did a bit of eating in the restaurants and stuff. We did a few other things as well. So it was quite an effective thing. This was actually a few years ago. This was actually, I don't know if you remember the World Cup when it was hosted in Russia. Our aim was actually to make it to Russia in order to see the England match, but we didn't actually make it in time. So we didn't actually do that. No, we didn't get tickets. We were actually going to plan to get some tickets or actually sneak in. You'd be surprised how easy it is actually to sneak into major events. We've done something like that before. The only thing is you have to be quite savvy about it. Like, for example, in Comic-Con in London, they host that twice a year. Sometimes you can actually sneak in without buying a ticket. The way you do that is you just pretend that you know what you're there, because sometimes they have they have the labels that they have around the neck and stuff. So sometimes you can just go them. If you're walking really confident and you know what you're doing, you can actually go through the. But it's a bit risky. But sometimes you can actually wear a costume as well and pretend that you've got it on you, because you're wearing quite a large, cumbersome costume. They don't actually check on you because you can. They assume that you've got it underneath the costume. So that's quite a good way of getting in, sneaking in there. But obviously, we didn't have this particular advantage when it came to actually getting to the venue in Russia. So Russians are kind of scary as well. Russian securities, they don't fuck around. If they catch you, they're gonna beat you up and kidnap you and stuff, and maybe throw you in jail. So it was a bit risky, but we did that anyway. So we went all the way to Russia. Eventually, but we didn't actually make it to the England match because I think by that point England already got knocked out of the competition. But it was still good anyway, because when England gets knocked out of the competition, we were able to just follow some of the other teams and just appreciate football for what it is, because we come to the realization that we could still enjoy the tournament despite England not being in there, because it's not all about patriotism or nationalism and supporting the place that you're originally from. It's about a more global community, and that's what the World Cup really encapsulates. It's about a global coming together of different nations and realizing that we all are in fact one. We all are just one community on the planet. So that's really what the World Cup is all about, and that's what we came to realize. So not only did we manage to do a lot of exercise, we also became more spiritually awakened within ourselves and our relation to the global collective consciousness as well. So this was quite an empowering situation we found ourselves to be in. The only issue was when we had to go all the way back from Russia, we didn't actually want to go all the way back to the UK again cycling, because it's quite a long, tiresome journey. So we had to figure out a way of doing that. So one idea was to take a flight all the way there, but the problem is we had bikes, so that wasn't very effective. So what we did was we actually took a night bus. So we took a coach all the way from Germany, Russia to Germany, all the way back to the UK. The only problem with doing that is that we had to dismantle our bikes in order to fit the bike in the coach.
Yeah.
So the problem with that is that you had to disassemble the bike, and it actually kind of damaged the bike a little bit, because it really damaged the bike, but a lot of bikes aren't really designed to be disassembled unless it's specifically designed to be disassembled. But the bike that I had wasn't really specifically designed to be disassembled. We had to disassemble it anyway in order to fit it into the cargo of the coach. And so that was the end of that bike. Luckily, I bought it really cheap on eBay. I think I bought it for about 100 quid on eBay, and it was a really quite good bike. It had extra storage compartments as well. So it had 2 bags on each wheel. So 2 bags on the front wheel, 2 bags on the back wheel, and it was really good because it was just really effective because you could carry a lot of possessions. So I actually took a laptop of mine on this trip as well because I assumed that we were going to stay in a few hotels and stuff, even though it was primarily about cycling. I still took a laptop with me, and it was quite good because we could, I could actually use the laptop whilst I was on the, not on the bike, but like stopping in the train station or even on the train as well. So we could use the laptop, yeah. So we could do a bit of that stuff. So it was quite good. But the only problem is before I actually managed to even leave the UK, the bag actually f***ed the bike and I lost my laptop. That was a bit of a bummer. So I had a bit of a breakdown with the laptop. That was a bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
But then.
If you hungry for some real hip-hop, we came to feed you. I lead you out of the dark with my cerebral. Shine on the mic, don't you party people front. We wanna see you jump like Evil Knievel stunts. Binary star, athletic, Mike League assembling. Fire kindling, God's gift to adrenaline. Representing Waterworld, that's Michigan. You lack discipline, you going nowhere like flat Michelins.